Greetings, fellow armchair Imagineers. Tiki here.
And Blue Dragon 5.
And I
We're
just have
back.
no words. Yeah, we're back. I have no words for this one. I was going to say this movie is so inexplicable. I don't even feel like making a joke. It's, to quote the nostalgia critic, it's the land before time on crystal meth. It's We're Back, a Dinosaur story, everyone. 30 years. 30 years of just, what the hell is this movie? Dragon, I don't know. I rewatched it last night. I still don't know what the hell is this movie. Do you know?
What do we think I'm some kind of prophet? What do you want me to tell you?
All right, so yeah, this movie, source of Dragon, I would say this. I remember we did. I'm pretty sure it was like probably within the first year that you and I collaborated together. We did. I believe it was the top 10 non-Disney animated villains, and number one on my list was Screw Eye from this movie. And yeah, this movie is the source of much childhood trauma. But rewatching this movie, Dragon, it's so weird that like Screw Eye doesn't even come in until like halfway through. This movie is so I don't even know. I don't even know. I have fond memories of this movie fucking me up as a kid. That's about as fond as I can say for this movie. It's a very it is a Don Bluth knockoff, Z and K. It is a Don Bluth knockoff. Ko Gias says We're Back is such a weird thing to put a title for a film in that isn't a sequel to any. Yeah, it was always a weird, awkward title. Okay, does that mean Tiki loves this film? No. I mean, I have reverence for how strange it is, but this is going to be unlike a lot of our other anniversary movies because this one really does not hold up that well on a rewatch, Dragon. I think that's fair to say. I hope you and I are on the same page about that. Anyways, Little Blues in the comments. He is saying, I was hoping you guys would cover this. Plus, for a lot of people in hearing about this for the first time, they'd just be like, what? Yeah, I hear you. All right, so Dragon, did this movie mess you up as much as it did me?
So I got a lot of nostalgia for this. I mean, I think like a lot of us, this is probably either willingly or unwillingly a VHS that was put on, and we've seen it a number of times. It's not top tier in the story department. That much is certain. But this is here's the weird analogy I have for this movie. This is more a warm and fuzzy feeling than it is a movie, than it is a film. You know, it's more of just kind of like it's going for feels and pathos, but there's really no logic to it at all. It's well intentioned, just really thin.
Totally.
You know, it's really thin, but it's well intentioned. I suspect because they're adapting a very straightforward, uncomplicated kids book, and Amblimation, the offshoot of Amblin. They were a little new at features. They didn't do many features. I forget what the deal was, but essentially they stopped after Balto. So it was them chasing Don Bluth's success. Their first film was literally like, hey, let's sequelize the Don Bluth film.
Essentially,
So
yes.
I mean, that's the thing. Amblimation's works were predominantly style and pathos. If you look at all three of them, there was predominantly style and pathos over substance of in trying to like the substance of the early Bluth era stuff. So that's what they were chasing. And
I think Balto got the closest to
yeah,
actually feeling like a legitimate Bluth movie, but
that's what I'm saying. They kind of got closer as they went on, but it's interesting. You kind of have, I don't know. It's kind of like it's a little bit of each. So this movie is more like the pathos and the warm and fuzziness, but there's no logic at all. I mean, Five Will Goes West at least has a foundation to build from, just very much pales in comparison. It has an aesthetic, then Balto kind of was like, okay, Balto's a fair attempt. It's a fair attempt. Anyway, but yeah, I mean, it's a weird thing where I know it's not a good movie, but it does have like elements I like, and I could see a movie coming from this. But it feels like it feels like in a best case scenario, this thing would have been like a Bill Joyce like book adapted. best case scenario, but we did not get that here. But I can see where their heart's in the right place and what they're trying to do with this movie. It's just there's just no real logic for it. There's a lot of random things kind of on screen, and it's not a long movie. There's not really a lot there, and I think because there's just not a lot there. This is a short film that we pitched as a movie here.
It's barely feature length. It's about as feature length as
Yeah.
Dumbo is.
Well, I mean, or Mask of the Phantasm, if you want to use another '90s film that came out this year.
Uh-huh.
Well, in '93, like literally, it's a '93 contemporary, not a 30th anniversary this year, but
But the difference between this and Phantasm is that Phantasm knew how to use its runtime.
that is absolutely true, my friend. That said, also, good animation. 93 had some stellar animation.
You know what's weird about this, Dragon? I don't know if you're going to agree with me on this, but just rewatching it, like, obviously this movie and the movie I'm about to mention are radically different movies. Radically different. But I kind of got some weird vibes of Wish from this movie. A little bit. Hear me out. It's a movie that is done essentially to capitalize on the success of other movies. Like here, obviously in Wish's case, it's Disney. In this case, it's very much Spielberg being like kid-friendly Jurassic Park. Like we need another one because we have The Land Before Time, but we need a contemporary dinosaur movie. And then much like Wish, it's got a compelling villain whose logic and motivation makes next to no sense. It's got gorgeous animation and backgrounds, but some pretty thin character work. I don't know. I think there's a couple interesting parallels you can draw. Maybe, I'm sure Wish being fresh on the mind is probably part of it. But I don't know. It's kind of like how I've heard Jenny Nicholson draw comparisons between like The Good Dinosaur and the original Land Before Time, in the sense that like they're both very, very well animated movies that are very simple, that have kind of ugly character designs. I don't know.
Really, you think the character designs are ugly in Land Before Time?
They're a little wrinkly.
Well, I mean, they're dinosaurs, though.
Yeah, but they could be less wrinkly.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard you say. Dinosaurs can be less wrinkly.
Yeah, I don't know. Is this film better or worse than Mask of the Phantasm? It is definitely worse.
I'm not even going to dignify
Who
that
is
with a
Jenny
response.
Nicholson? Code Geass. You need to look up Jenny Nicholson on YouTube and get yourself some culture, my friend. She is one of the premier video essayists.
Wouldn't it be delightful if she was like the long lost granddaughter of Jack Nicholson? Wouldn't
that would be delightful? Yes. I would say the best way to describe Jenny Nicholson, I would say, is she's essentially picking up where Lindsay Ellis left off. She is very much in that same kind of mold, except a lot less political than Lindsay Ellis. So, but Lindsay Ellis is very much like the YouTuber I would compare her to. Anyways, we're not going to go around with the Jenny Nicholson thing. We're never going to get a good animated dino movie again, are we? It's been downhill since '88. I don't know, Zine K. I don't know. I hear you. The only thing, like, maybe, like, if a Studio Ghibli or something came along and was like, hey, let's do dinosaurs. But yeah, I don't know.
We've had a really great dinosaur series with Primal, but that's not the same.
That's true. Yeah, Primal was kind of what I was thinking of.
Series, though, not movie.
Okay, this movie feels like the lighthearted fluff. It has dark moments. To me, they feel like tonal inconsistencies. Oh, yes, Lucas Green. The dark moments are absolute tonal nightmares, for sure. The Flintstones could save the reputation for dinosaurs, but which iteration of the Flintstones? Are they doing a new version?
Yes, but there's been a lot of delays, so I don't know what the heck's going on. Like Elizabeth Banks is supposed to be doing a Bedrock show, but the jury's out on if that's still happening or what. Long ago, Seth MacFarlane announced the Flintstones show.
I remember the MacFarlane one.
That got happened. Shelved. I'm pretty sure. So I don't think that's ever going to see the light of day.
All right. Well, regardless, Dragon. So yeah, I'm kind of on the same page with you. Where I don't. I want to make it clear. I don't dislike this movie. I really don't. This movie does have a lot of really interesting things to admire about it. Honestly, Dragon, it very much does feel like the most accurate representation of like what reading a children's picture book actually feels like, if that makes sense. Very loose story, very imaginative visuals, very simple characters. Does that make sense? Am I on track a little bit there?
I mean, kind of. I don't think you're really making much of a point there, but yeah.
Well, I'm just saying, like for example, Shrek was based on a children's picture
Mhm.
book, right? But like,
Yeah.
it's not like watching Shrek. You don't feel like you're like it doesn't feel like that. Like so, this is like basically like or like something like Where the Wild Things Are. Good movie, but doesn't necessarily feel like watching. Like reading the book. This very much feels like that kind of experience for me.
Hmm.
Okay, anyways, let's see. Z&K says Rex went to Bedrock soon after this movie.
Oh, he's not. He's
Yes.
not wrong.
Imagine if they made
Literally the following year.
right. Imagine if they made a sequel to this film called We're Back Again, a dinosaur second story.
They're all living in an apartment on a second story.
Oh God. Yes. Oh my God. Okay, Dragon. Without further ado, let's. I'm sure you've got a little bit of background on this.
Yeah, there's very interesting background on this.
Yeah.
I'm going to save some of the juiciest stuff when we get into the conversation. Let's just say So yeah, as I mentioned, this is the feature division of Amblin. They were very much kind of trying to build a film catalog, and to what I understand, it kind of crashed and burned after Balto. It's based the story itself is based on the Hudson Talbot book of the same name. Now, essentially the skeleton of of that story is in the movie. It's like, for example, the core story of that picture book is dinosaurs, just dinosaurs. I forget. I don't know if they could talk or not. I will say we have dinosaurs in New York. They end up in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. They get into a police chase. They're chased by cops, and they end up in the museum. That's the book.
No
That's it.
circus?
There's no circus. There's no kids. There's no villain. There's no Mr. New Eyes. None of it.
So you're telling me that the weird cereal thing was not in the book?
I haven't personally read the book, so I can't tell you if the cereal's in there. But to what I understand, I don't think there's a sci-fi angle either. So all I know is there's definitely no villain. There's no kids. There's no circus. That much I do know. There's probably no brain drain.
But it is kind of weird that the Macy's parade was in the
That
book.
is in there.
Especially considering that, like, that to me feels like the sequence that Spielberg would add in just to get the Jurassic Park Easter egg in there. I don't know. So that's funny.
Yeah, well, we'll get there. There's a little. That's the thing. Like it's reported that that sequence was added at the behest of the Sid Sheinberg to Spielberg, saying like, okay, we did test screening. It's going down the tubes. We need to add a parade sequence in there. I don't care if it costs $1 million. We got to add it in there. That's what's reported. But if you consider that, well,
I mean, that parade sequence is by far the most memorable scene in the movie. So
that's
that was
true.
probably a smart call.
Here's the conflict. Here's why I'm doubting one of these things is not like the other here in terms of our fact checking. Because think about it: if the kids' book has the parade in it, you would think that would be on the agenda when we're adapting the story into a feature. How does that get left out?
Right. I mean, obviously, we haven't read the book, but
I know I can't say
seems like it would be
firsthand.
a central idea in the book. It would seem that way.
You would assume.
Maybe it was just a rights thing, Dragon. Maybe they were just afraid to pay for the rights to all those characters.
You might have a point. Maybe that's what the million was for specifically, but maybe that's why they were thinking about not putting it in there. I guess. Well, regardless, money well spent. So, believe it or not, a lot of people wanted this book, Tiki. A lot of people wanted their hands on it. Hanna-Barbera and Disney both wanted the rights to the story, but Universal nabbed it for Steven Spielberg, who I don't know what stage of production
Spielberg
he was.
was basically like the king of the dinosaurs in the 90s, so that
Well,
makes
well,
sense.
well. That's the thing. I can't really tell you how if it was just coincidental he was doing Jurassic Park, or if it was like he must have been in the throes of production. The question is, how far in advance did he plan the production of
Okay, yeah,
Jurassic
but the
Park?
thing is, even not counting Jurassic Park, like I said, we still got fucking Land Before Time
Mm-hmm.
in the equation as well with Spielberg. I know that's not a Spielberg movie, but he very much produced
Well, I
it.
know. I'm just saying, but you're right. But I just the question of like how coincidental is it that they buy that? Do they buy it for Land Before Time, or they do it, or they buy it because
I
Spielberg's
think they're
working on
buying
Jurassic
it for
Park?
Jurassic Park, let's be
Yeah.
honest. But I'm saying Land Before Time probably gave them the faith that Spielberg could do something like
Well, no, I'm
this.
just wondering like, how long the production was on Jurassic Park. That's what I'm asking. But
Oh,
yeah.
I mean, the production on Jurassic Park was at least a few years. I know that the Jurassic Park is a weird thing where the movie and the novel, like, I'm pretty sure that Spielberg had the rights to the novel before the novel even came out officially. I'm pretty sure. So it was in pre-production for a long time.
Okay, real quick, Z and K's right. We do have the alien. We do have the alien component, but I don't know if we have new eyes in there. That's what I was getting at. Is that you're right? They are abductive. I have to imagine. I don't know if there's like a cereal that makes them smart, or yeah, that's how
Or
they
if
do the
there's a Jay
crossbreeding.
Leno alien.
Well, probably a less silly version, but yes. Anyway, point being, Spielberg same year is doing two dinosaur movies, and this comes out the same year as Jurassic Park, which is crazy.
Yeah. Jurassic Park was a summer movie, and then this is a Thanksgiving movie, so that
Hmm.
that's kind of like some really weird timing there.
So, Phil Nibelink, if I'm saying his name right, Phil Nibelink, along with a few other directors, because back in the day, especially
Movie's
like kind
got
of
like
that.
5 directors, dude. I tried to look it up just to see if any of them have done anything else, and I'm like, oh, forget it. There's too many names.
Well, that's the thing. So you had Phil Nibelink, Simon Wells, Dick and Ralph Zondag, I think is how you say your name.
uh
The point being was this is back during that era, like late '90s, early 2000s, where you had multiple directors on the animated films. I know we still do have occasionally have more than one director, like in the case of the Spider Verse
But I mean,
movies.
even in the '90s, it's like you would have like your Musker and Clements and stuff like that. But I don't even think it was that common to have like basically like a whole panel of directors.
I'm saying a lot of times it depends on the production, but in this case, here's
Yeah.
the thing. Ultimately, what happened here is that all these directors were on the project. However, the majority of them were pulled to different projects, which included like Balto, just in stages of production, but also some films that never launched. Particularly one you're going to get a kick out of. Apparently, Cats. Apparently, Ambulation was working on
Oh
adaptation.
yeah. Oh, I very much know that. Yes,
So,
I have seen the concept art.
so
It would have
essentially,
been a lot better than the Tom Hooper movie.
Niblink was running point on this, and this guy's got good credits. So he was an animator on Roger Rabbit. He's actually was a board guy in Wolverine, the X Men. So he's gotten around. He's done a lot of stuff.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, he's so he was kind of running point on. I don't know whether that's to his benefit or detriment that he didn't have the help in the director's chair on this. I don't know. You be the judge. We had James Horner doing the score, the wonderful James Horner.
Oh yeah.
Uh, did he do did he do the score for Land Before Time as well?
Yes.
Okay, that makes sense. We got the dinosaur guy to do the score for this one too. No, not that one. The other one.
I literally have a Land Before Time poster in my room, so I can just look at it and fact check that. And yes, that is indeed James Horner.
All right, so this was the first animated film to use. Technically, it beat Disney in using the ink and paint system all the way through. So Disney had introduced it at this point, but they hadn't used it all the way through for the movie yet. So this movie kind of beat him to the punch. Which I think is why the animation does look really good too, and just the blending.
I mean, the animation, like specifically the backgrounds, that's kind
Mm-hmm.
of why I draw the comparison to Wish, honestly, is the
Mm-hmm.
backgrounds in this movie look really damn good.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh yeah. So I already mentioned the whole parade thing, but here's something here's something that's it's like stranger than fiction. You got to hear, and then we'll get into it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. So the other thing too is there are a lot of firsts for actors working on this movie. Like the first time in animation, like Walter Cronkite never did animation before, his first time. Martin Short,
Did he
first.
really act though? In general,
Well, that's the thing. I don't really.
I
He's
don't think so.
I,
I think it was just like him and Julia Childs, kind of. I think it was probably just like a one-time thing for them.
I mean, that's the thing. I've seen him like parodied and cameoed and things visually, but I don't know if they've like done acting. You know,
Uh
that's the thing because I've seen parodied so often. Oddly, Cronkite also parodied in Dinosaurs, the Jim Henson show.
huh. Yep.
Anyway, so Howard Hand Up Me,
Oh my
which is
god,
still
that's
just
such
really
a
funny.
great name.
So as was mentioned very enthusiastically by Little Blue earlier, John Goodman. So he had done animation before this with Frosty Returns, the not so great sequel to Frosty the Snowman. It's okay, not great, and this was his first feature before, way before Emperor's New Groove, before
Mhm.
Monsters Inc. This was the first feature. Anyway, so Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, as you can probably guess, they did a tie-in with this. They had this movie had a balloon in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade.
Oh my god. Oh,
There
okay.
was
I need to look that up. I need to
okay.
see this.
No, well, before you do, I want to tell you what happened.
Okay.
Okay, so they had Rex in the
Uh huh.
parade, and you can find the pictures of Rex. But here's what happened. This is like the bad omen. Rex popped.
Oh my god.
It's like the Sonic the Hedgehog thing, It's like Rex popped, and it was not a good omen for the movie. Like,
Oh
hey,
my
here's
god.
our big thing. Movie comes out on Thanksgiving. Lo and behold,
It
Thanksgiving Day
literally
Parade.
features the Macy Thanksgiving Day
Uh
Parade.
huh. It's like the ultimate marketing tie-in, and what happens? It's like
Oh
revenge.
shit. Oh, I just
Yeah,
looked up the picture.
yeah.
Oh
It's
my
re-
god,
it's
that's
it's
crazy.
revenge for him popping the Jurassic Park. Long neck. It's
Okay, seriously, folks, just Google "We're Back Dinosaurs Thanksgiving Parade," and
Mhm.
oh, this is a crazy image.
Oh yeah.
Oh
But
man,
isn't it symbolic though of what ultimately
yes,
happened?
it's very symbolic.
Okay, anyway, so there we go. That's the backstory. Let's dive into it.
I love that fucking Miss Saigon is in the background in this image of all shows too. Anyways, all right, okay, so Dragon, I will never forget. I'm going to draw a couple things from the Nostalgia Critics review, just because I really do enjoy that review. It's done in the Hunter S. Thompson style, but I will never forget how he describes the opening of this movie on the golf course as a Far Side comic without any captions. Like that is such an accurate way to describe this visual of like the T Rex with the golf outfit and I don't know, man. What do you think of this little intro with the baby bird? I mean, obviously the baby bird thing. It's probably meant to be like to tie into the storyline with Louis and Cecilia. We'll get to them, but uh, it very much feels like a forced framing device, right?
Well, yeah, it's a very odd frame device with Rex golfing. Here's the thing. Rex golfing, I think, is funny and nonsensical, but it's very odd that given where we are at the end of this movie and what he says at the end of this movie when we clip off the framing device is that it's odd that his friends are still in that museum. Why is he out
Yes,
golfing if
that's
they're
always fucking bothered me ever since I was a kid. I swear to God.
it's like wait, so
I'm
he's
like,
are
well,
they
where are
allowed
your
to?
friends now, Rex? Why are you golfing alone?
And it makes you wonder if it's like a meta thing where he would say, and they made a movie about our life, and I'm not talking about
Oh
this.
God.
That's the thing, though. They don't really go in that direction, though. So it does not make a lick of sense. It's
I do like the visual of the T Rex in the golf
I know
outfit,
it
though.
looks great. It makes no sense. Doesn't make a lick of sense, but it's cool. I mean,
But like the nostalgia critic says, it is very much a Far Side comic kind of image. Like that
I,
is such an accurate description.
this is the animation geek in me. I just love like the physics of Rex in these little vehicles and like him
Yeah,
driving up
totally, totally.
in the giant golf cart. Anyway, so of course we liken Buster the Bird to Louis, and we're kind of paralleling that. And then basically, the main purpose behind this opening, which is not warranting why it's there, but the idea is we're really wanting to drive the moral home of like don't run away from home, kids, and we're worried that maybe the movie. Well, I guess they're worried to some extent. Like it'll say, "Hey, kids, if you run away from home, you're going to meet dinosaurs, and they're going to save you in the end. You'll be fine." They want to make sure that doesn't happen. So
Oh
okay,
my
they're
God,
going to show
Greg,
little moral.
we are going to tear apart the plot of this movie. I
Yeah,
like I
like
I
carnivores, my friend,
genuinely
like
cannot
carnivores.
wait.
Like the way we're going to tear this movie apart, like the way Wu tears apart those hot dogs. But yeah, so here's the thing. I do love this. This is a really classy bit looking back on it years later. Rex winking to the mama bird to signal, "Hey, I got this. Don't worry, I'm going to talk him out of it."
Uh,
You know. Okay, so we start like the prehistoric era here, where it's the film. This is where the film actually should have started. This would have been a much more interesting introduction here. We see
because
this
it
character,
essentially starts with like Rex is essentially
a
like a
sharp
land
tooth.
before time sharp tooth.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is that to me. Honestly, the opening of this film, not counting the framing device, the opening of this film has all the most interesting ideas of the film that we don't truly explore here. Really, it's just this idea of like, we
Could you imagine if like the first 10 minutes of the movie was just all prehistoric stuff
well that would
before anything?
that would be gobsmacking. It might be it might be a bit of a gamble tonally, but it would be a cool thing to see. But the idea that we turn this brutal, mindless, T-Rex into someone coursing with John Gooden and charm.
Yep.
And thanks to Vord and the brain grain cereal, which I gotta admit, being a guy who appreciates cereal, I thought it's cool. I
I'm
like the
surprised
cereal.
that there's never been like, I mean, I guess the movie's not like popular because obviously people have made stuff like Reptar bars and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And I would get a novelty box of Brain Drain if the price was right.
Yeah.
Or I'm sorry, not Brain Drain.
No,
I'm
you're
sorry.
talking. Those are pills, Steve. You want
Yes. Which, by the way, I love like the drug metaphor on that. Cereal pills.
cereal makes you happy. Drugs, it'll ruin your life. There's an advertisement for cereal for you.
The mechanics for why the dinosaurs have to take the pills.
I know. We'll get there. Okay.
I
Don't
know.
jump
I'm
ahead.
just planting the flag. I'm just planting the flag.
Okay, just pace yourself, man. We got a short movie, but we got a lot to get through.
I know. That's the thing, Dragon. This is going to be a 2-hour podcast. I guarantee you, and I'm not even mad about that.
Okay, so here's the thing: the premise of the movie. I think there's a part of it I think you really appreciate. I imagine you really appreciate. I want to start. I'm building there. I'm jumping ahead. It's really exciting here. So, Captain New Eyes, voiced by Walt Carney, doing a really good job here. I like the idea that Captain New Eyes. He's this peaceful time traveler with this wish radio, and the idea this guy is like an inventor. He's invented Marvel's apparently a time machine, and he wants to, in his golden years, he wants to make the wish of children. That's a very Bill Joyce idea, and I like that.
It's a nice idea. You know what bothers me though?
What?
How does he pick which time period?
Well, he flips the little dial, Tiki. That's the time.
That's the thing, though, with this whole movie. It's like if you question the logic of literally anything that happens in the plot of this movie, it just falls apart.
Apparently, and this is kind of funny though. This is maybe a companion to the Jurassic Park. What's the big popular wish of '93?
Well, exactly. It's almost meta in that way. Honestly,
which is clever. That's what I'm saying. The opening. I think we're off to the races with the opening after we get past that awkward, golfing scene. It's
okay, really quick. I'm going to shout out some comments, Dragon. Sorry. Z and K says, "Is it just me, or does it look as though Rex shrank himself in the golf scenes?" Z and K, I honestly don't even think it's the golf scenes. I just think the scale of Rex is very, it very much varies from scene to scene. I think the scale of Rex is wacky in this movie, just generally speaking.
It's twofold. Like, is the tree really up high, and does he just have a giant golf cart, or did we shrink him down? That's the question.
Right.
Maybe it's a really tall tree.
Okay, Z and K says, what might have been better? Louie and Cecilia as grown-ups taking their kids to the museum after hours.
There's a framing device for you. I mean, it's maybe something we don't quite need for like a film to stand on its own, but it is kind of neat though.
You know what, though? I'm going to have one pushback against it. And Dragon, I'm sorry. I'm going to have to talk about this when it comes to Louie and Cecilia. It's a big sticking point for this movie. There is absolutely no fucking reason why we need to make these literal children a romantic couple.
Well, yes,
no reason. Zero reason.
I'm just saying it's not the end of the world. But
they are children.
Well, I'm not saying
they aren't even teenagers or tweens. They are children.
What? Sometimes kids fall in love. I don't know what happens.
It's just how pushy Cecilia's being. That's what really bothers me.
Look at Hey Arnold.
We'll get it. Okay, yeah, that's fair.
Come on.
We'll get into it. But Hey Arnold, they at least made a point that it was problematic, Dragon.
Well,
That's the
yeah,
difference.
but that's also a series.
Yeah, all right.
They
Anyway,
have a whole episode dedicated to putting her on the couch. Therapy.
sounds like Tiki would. No, I actually really like Isabella from Phineas and Ferb just because I feel like that's a fun, like, subversion of that trope, honestly. It's like she desperately wants the non-plutonic relationship, but it's just not going to happen. I think that's fun. I think that's fun. Anyways, we'll get into it more when we get into the kids. I'm sorry, it's a sticking point. Steven Spielberg should direct a live-action remake of this movie starring, oh god, that has Sam Neill, Laura Dern, and Jeff Goldblum voicing CGI dinosaurs. Oh my
well, we know the three characters they'd play.
god. All right. Okay, let's continue.
Anyway, what I was getting at, unlike
Kogias,
John,
I'm sorry, really quick, Kogias. We are probably not going to do a 30th anniversary podcast for Phantasm just because we already covered it on Batcave. So if you just use the search function on our channel for the for Mask of the Phantasm, you should be able to find it.
It's a commentary.
Yeah, indeed.
Okay, so unlike John Hammond, we make sure that we don't have the dinosaurs be man eaters anymore, thanks to the serial. So New Eyes made a really good call there.
Little Blue, I'm sorry, American Tail was all Don Bluth. Spielberg just produced that, but then Amblimation entirely made Fievel Goes West. So
Yep.
that just to clear that up. Anyways.
Yes. Okay. Okay, let's see. Anyway, so our characters, we got Rex, Elsa, Woog, and Dweeb, which admittedly, I wonder if those are from the book. Those feel a little like, really, we're going to call it Dinosaur Dweeb.
Both of those characters are literally like non-characters, Dragon. They have absolutely zero substance to them as characters.
You want to talk about weird love things? I mean, Elsa's got a bad for Rex, man. It's weird.
Yeah, no, but again, they're adults. They're adults. But
they're dinosaurs, though.
Okay, yeah, you're like age-wise, you probably don't know how old they actually are. But
anyway, I do love. I just think it's a charming scene. They're all gathered around the fire and they're eating hot dogs. It's on really kind of cozy there. So
hot dog food animation. Just want to point that out. It looks like delicious hot dogs,
right? Doesn't it look good?
They totally do.
That's large. Like, yeah. So
and the cereal looks good too, honestly.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The food animation's pretty solid in this. Okay, so here's what I want to dip into here is that there's a really interesting story opportunity that's presented here that we touch on very briefly in kind of our Act 1 space before we go to New York. Is the fact that there is a lot of guilt and shame over their actions now that they have like the facilities to have evolved from their mindless kind of like dinosaur like Cretaceous past.
I feel it's like very it was a 90-minute movie instead of an hour and a little bit of change that we could have really explored that a little more.
Because I mean, it's really interesting. This is another 90s thing. I believe predates this. I forget if the show was in 90 or 91, but either way, it predates this. You have the Jim Henson Dinosaur Show, which is again the idea of like, what if dinosaurs had evolved and they would have to face the moral consequences of some of these actions, or moral consequences
sure.
Like the world at large that we're facing today. But the idea is like dinosaurs
seriously so ahead of its time, man.
It's seriously, you got to rewatch it, buddy. It's phenomenal.
I know.
Regardless, but that's what I'm saying. I like that there's like kind of a la dinosaurs. There's very much like the idea of dinosaurs reflecting on the things that they have done so famously and feeling bad about that. To me, there's a movie there. I'm down for that story. That's really interesting, and having them integrate into a society where they do not want to be monsters, like that's great.
Yeah,
that's not the story we're telling though, but that's great. So
apparently, according to Z and K, in the book it was 7 dinosaurs and not 4.
Oh,
so that's interesting.
That I did not know.
I assume in the books they pretty much had no personality.
You have to imagine there's only so many pages.
Yeah.
Okay, so T, I want to get your thoughts on this. This is what I'm dying to get your thoughts on. The Captain New Eyes laying out at the top, like this. Basically, I would call this practically the end of Act 1. Practically,
yeah.
Professor New Eyes laying it almost like it's a very Ride Q-esque moment, and I really
It
love it.
is. It is. It totally
And
is.
I
It
love
totally
and
is. Yeah.
I love a good ride queue, so I'm so down for this. Is my kind of thing. I love this sort of scene in any ride queue where we get it laid out very directly, the gravitas and the mystique. Like you're being basically ET needs to go home kind of
No,
a
it's absolutely
was.
reminiscent of the ET thing because they even point out like the different characters you're gonna
Mm-hmm.
meet. I
Yeah,
mean, the
so it's
ET ride doesn't have a villain, but it points out the characters.
but yeah, it's the idea like he gives the mission statement here. For you get not only do you get a mission statement and like the ride queue breakdown here, you get it from Walter Cronkite of all people, like the newsman, the man the man who is all about the dissemination of fact. It is this man. So
Okay,
he says,
I'm pretty
"Find."
sure I could be wrong about this, but I'm pretty sure that Walter Cronkite was the original narrator of Spaceship Earth.
I think that's right.
I'm pretty sure.
It's only a little bit of acting.
I mean, I think if Walter Cronkite should act anywhere, it should be in a theme park. The man just has a voice that's built for theme parks.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So very much in a theme park esque kind of situation here. You have Walter Cronkite of all people, like telling you, "Find Dr. Julia Bleep and avoid my brother, Professor Screw Eyes."
But the warning about Screw Eyes is very ominous in a
Mm-hmm.
theme park kind of way.
Yeah. Then we have like the great. This is a really good running gag. Look at Rex. He keeps saying Museum of Natural History. Wink.
Yeah.
Like that. That's a charming little like just John doing like a little Cronkite impression. That's nice. So here, admittedly though, here's a big. Here's the first big plot hole of the film, not counting that opening. In hindsight, given we are in essentially a time traveling spaceship, in hindsight, New Eyes, couldn't you have dropped him off closer to the museum? Like
I have
maybe.
no earthly explanation for
Well, think
why
about it.
that. Yeah.
Think about it. At the end of the movie, he shows up in Central Park, which is where they all are. And we've established that Central Park is close. I don't know how geographically correct this is, but Central Park is essentially in the vicinity of the Museum of Natural History. So it's more of like a dash versus like we get all the way from the harbor to to the Museum of Natural
I'm
History.
actually going to look that up. How close is Central Park to the Museum of Natural History?
But either way, it's like close into the city versus you got to make your way into the city and freak everyone out.
I mean, I kind of assume that the reason he did it, the only explanation I have is just because if you drop dinosaurs into the middle of the city, like you said, it would freak people out. Plus, there'd probably be some casualties from the landing. But he could have dropped them a little closer, though.
That's what I mean. Casually, you could just like literally. You saw how he swooped in at the end. It's like, okay, I'm just gonna not land on people and just drop them out. Like maybe not from the sky. Just like, hey, just like let them out on the ground floor.
Oh, okay. Central Park is literally like it's right. It's right there. It's right there.
Yeah.
I think it's in Central Park. I think.
There you go.
Okay.
See what I mean?
You know what isn't in Central Park, Dragon? A weird circus. Yes.
Yeah. Well, it's a traveling circus, probably. So.
I just can't imagine that kind of circus would ever take up residency in Central Park, though. We'll get to the circus. The weird thing about that circus is that it's essentially a modern day haunt attraction, but we'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah. All right, so the main reason we're doing this is we needed to have him collide with Louis. Now, I have a theory as to why we meet Louis in this way, by the way. So,
I do like the image of him on the raft. That's honestly one of my favorite images of him because it does kind of give you like a Huck Finn kind of vibe.
Sure. I mean, Louis, as a character, New Yorker running, a consummate New York kid running away from his family. Lonely, needing friends, as we see on the Wish radio. Now, here's the thing: it feels like the whole reason they haven't crashed into the raft and everything is purely so Rex can almost drown and have Louis save him, only for him to like blow the bubble and then realize, just remember a few moments ago to what he saw on the Wish radio. That seems to be the only reason we do all that. Now, that said, while that does seem a little like an extra step we didn't need to take, I do love Louis saving him and then becoming friends because of that. That is a nice moment, though. And him using the crane does look good on the inside in terms of like the ink and paint kind of effect. Like,
here's the thing, though: the crane is very much like the point where I feel like the scale of Rex is at its most wonky.
I mean, I don't know. How big's the crane, you think?
I mean, it's got to be pretty damn big. That's what I'm saying.
I don't know. Maybe. Uh, I don't know. I think that we established is, again, we're already playing with. We have a movie where like we're riding around on cars like skateboards, and I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just
Very
saying like
true.
there is a
Very
little
true.
bit of like I think there's a little bit of believability we can stretch. He's jumping on parade balloons. Okay, I think we can make some leaps.
He's
At
doing
least
some
with the.
very inappropriate things with Spider-Man.
Oh, come on! Well, don't take everything from the nostalgia
I'm
critic. All right,
sorry.
come on, man. Originality, for pity's sake. Okay.
I'm just saying, like, even if it weren't for Nostalgia Critic, that would be a
Oh,
questionable
come! You
flick.
never thought about it until you saw nostalgia critic. Come on.
I don't know. I don't know. I think if I would have watched it like as a kid, no. But if I saw it as an adult, I don't know.
He's just jumping on a balloon.
Oh my
Don't be
god.
silly, okay? Just come on. Anyway, so point being, we meet Louie. We have a similar goal. We're heading to Central Park anyway. Let's go there together. I'll help you out. So let's see. So as we head to the Museum of Natural History, Elsa gives Louie a lift, and that's when we meet Cecilia.
Okay. Yeah. And Z and K is pointing out this is a very well-timed comment. Z and K. As soon as Louis shows up, that's when the trajectory of the story flounders. Focusing on these damn wiener kids. If it was just one kid alone, sure, get lost, Lisa. So yes, Yeardley Smith, God bless her, Dragon. She has no range as a voice actress whatsoever. I feel bad for her, kind
Well,
of,
it's not a deal
honestly.
breaker though. It's just it's a kid. I mean, it's less
Well, it's
about
just
like
the
her
thing is,
sound.
the one character that she's known for is so iconic and
Mhm.
omnipresent. Like,
Yeah.
out of all the Simpsons voice actors, she is very much the one that got typecast.
Oh, sure, but I don't think it automatically makes Cecilia bad.
No, what makes Cecilia bad is the fact that she's weirdly like putting herself onto Louis like very inappropriately, I think,
Well,
throughout the movie.
true, but I guess for another Harold parallel here, her parents very non-committal. Her parents are they're just gone. They're like they're no, we saw like the saddest photos ever in that girl's apartment. Okay, this I call BS on by the way. We do like the happy-go-lucky ending later on. It's like okay,
Oh, that is
family
some
night.
major BS. That
Like
is some major,
think about
major,
it.
major BS.
We have the sad photo, which is like it says like family night or something. We see her alone at a table, surrounded by families. I'm not even going to address like the logic issues there. That's fine. That's for a very sad joke. But still, at the end, conveniently, family night, and they're there. It's like, come on, in the same position. Who took that photo? I don't know. So that's very convenient. But no, seriously, I mean, if they had his girls alone on Thanksgiving, now I do like the dichotomy here where Louis is, Louis has the affectionate family, but he's feeling smothered, and she is not getting that at all. So in that sense, like I don't know, we don't. Here's the thing: we don't develop these kids at all. Let me say that we don't develop them at all.
Well, like I said, the movie is more the most development we get is whether or not they're going to hook up as a romantic couple. That's it.
Well, I don't know how fixated they are on like them hooking up as a
It gets
couple.
brought up multiple times. Like if that's the thing that makes me uncomfortable about it is how often it gets brought up.
Well, I mean, they're going for like a cutesy kid vibe, but I don't know. I don't know.
The dichotomy about them that I actually really appreciate is I appreciate the fact that she's kind of like a little more high class and he's obviously like this New York rapscallion.
Yeah, that's what
Like
I'm
I've always
saying.
kind of appreciated that vibe.
Very different life experiences. Unfortunately, we don't really draw any. They don't really talk about that sort of stuff, though. You're right. In lieu of that, it's usually about her making
I,
googly
I
eyes at him.
literally just get the whole like she's a high class kid just from the setting of her like high rise apartment
Oh, I'm
home.
saying no, that's conveyed. So I'm not saying we need to belabor that point. I'm just saying those like they have. It's just all Louis says in response to this is like, oh, my mother's just. I mean, smothered by my parents with all that love. That's all they have in terms of like where we go from there. And I mean, it's the conflict of they can't really learn anything until the end of the movie. So that means they can't. If they talk about these things, they're going to learn that lesson beforehand. So I guess that's why they skirt away from that. It's like okay, Now there's a girl along for the journey, and the movie's so short. Think about it, Tiki. We get these kids briefly, but because the movie goes by so fast, it's like, okay, we introduced Louis with the dinosaurs, we ingratiate him to Rex, we throw the girl in there. There's a parade that separates him, and then back to the circus. So they really only have like that initial meeting, and then the circus. So I don't think it's like they're talking about the kissy goo goo stuff all throughout the movie. I think it's just two. Literally, they have really two to three scenes together, and well, we gave them those three bits and those three gags.
All right, fair enough.
I don't know.
Look, I'm just saying, like, one of the like modern cinema has had a lot of like bad trends, but one of the trends that I actually appreciate is that male characters and female characters don't automatically have to be romantically linked. So, just saying.
All right.
That is one trope from the 90s that I am glad that we're kind of getting rid of.
That's not what really matters, Tiki. That little girl looking in the window, wanting a hat. She gets the hat.
Yes. I actually don't mind that scene as much as you would think, just because I do think it ties in really nicely to the overall theme of the wishes and stuff like that.
Yeah,
like,
she wanted a hat. She got a hat. Then also, it plays into the time travel thing. He could see the future.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, that's one of the things about early Nostalgia Critic is that a lot of it is very much just bad faith criticism that you can explain away.
Yeah.
Dragon, also, we need to, we kind of glossed over something that is a bit of a head scratcher, which is Louis' very nonchalant reaction to the dinosaurs.
Well, I mean, we've established in this movie, the kids are very pro-dinosaur. They're not perturbed, but the adults are, but not the kids. So I think it's pretty consistent.
We'll fucking get there. The biggest fucking plot hole of the whole movie. We'll get there.
Yeah, that's it. We've established the kids love dinosaurs, so they are not freaked out by them at all.
Okay, but still, but I'm saying, Louis doesn't even have, oh my god, holy smokes, you guys are dinosaurs!
Well, I mean, they almost killed him, so I think he reacts to that.
Fair enough.
I'm walking here. I'm floating here.
He literally has an "I'm walking here" introduction. He
does. Oh, the 90s.
Oh my god. I don't know. I think out of the two kids, is it fair to say that Louis is definitely the more entertaining of the two?
Of course.
Just because he is very much the prototypical 90s rapscallion New Yorker child.
My headcanon is that his mother, had she appeared in the movie, would have been voiced by Rosie O'Donnell.
I can totally see that.
See Rosie O'Donnell as his mother.
Louis, get over here.
Louis, would you get over here already?
Oh my god. Okay, that's a much better Rosie O'Donnell.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh my god. ZAK says Cecilia is kind of a knockoff of Jenny from Oliver and Company. Yeah, I could see that. I mean, even down to the high class thing too. At least with Jenny and Oliver and Company, the high class thing was actually explored. Okay, so yeah, Dragon, fucking A. Let's have a parade.
Let's have a parade. Yeah, so it's great. It's a fun little set piece from the book. Oddly from the sound of things, wasn't in the original film, but again, it was obviously the smart call they put in there. We have a lot of classic balloons here. We got Snoopy, Woodstock, Spider-Man. We got Woody Woodpecker. Now Woody Woodpecker needed to be in there because he's a staple of the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. He's always in there.
Also a Universal owned character.
Yeah, which is very convenient. And we have Clifford the Big Red Dog before he...
Clifford is kind of the weirdest choice, I think. Although he was a very popular character in the 90s, so...
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Of course, now it's now we've kind of defamed, we've almost defrauded the nostalgia for Clifford the Big Red Dog, but, it used to be a wholesome thing.
Right. Oh, God. Oh, that fucking movie, dude.
Yeah. But I gotta be honest though, see, and I completely forgot they got Snoopy in there. It's oh my god, they got Snoopy.
Snoopy is weird to see just because I associate Snoopy so much with the Cedar Fair theme parks.
Mm-hmm.
That it's weird to see Snoopy and Woody Woodpecker intermingling. Clifford the Big Red Dog was a great film. Go Gias, the live action one. I mean, to be fair, I never actually saw it, but anyways,
So, what's up with the musical number?
yeah, this song is a total earworm.
It's catchy, right?
It is very catchy. It's been stuck in my head all day.
Yeah, yeah. So honestly, it's an awesome parade, and everything's going great until again, and the kind of the life imitating art moment. Rex, he sees another dinosaur, he pops the dinosaur balloon, and the jig is up.
Okay, so we need to talk about the whole thing where it's like the crowd is just super into it,
Mm-hmm.
and then the kids say it's a real dinosaur, and then the adults
Yeah,
are like, "Real dinosaurs?
yeah.
What the flying fuck?"
It feel. I think the like, I'm not saying it's conveyed well. I think the logic
The
was
logic is that the kids can see that they're real. I get that. I get
no,
the
no, no,
logic.
not that. I just mean why the adults catch on. I think it's that the song is ended and they are acting very human. So and then maybe the kids are on to something. I
So
think that's
fucking stupid, dude. It's so fucking stupid.
that's the logic. They were like, "Hey, the show is over. Why are the dinosaurs? They're acting like humans now. This makes us uncomfortable. It makes us want to go in angry mob mode."
Okay, Z and K has a very good point here, Dragon, which I never even really thought about. Isn't it weird that John Goodman hasn't been in a good musical movie? He's sung in a lot of them, but I wouldn't consider even Blues Brothers or Jungle Book 2 good at all.
Yeah, it's Blues Brothers 2000 is a real shame because it's like I mean it's again kind of well intended. Like we like the Blues Brothers. It's kind of a shame that we lost John Belushi. So basically like we're gonna replace one John for another John, and like John Goodman is as always is delightful. And he's the man's never given a bad performance. I feel, but he is
Yeah,
he's very
Evan
much like.
Almighty.
Oh, well, he's doing his best though. It's like he can't help it. All right,
I
I'm saying he's
say
trying.
that,
He's bringing legitimacy, but he's not going to help. It's not going to help.
That's legitimately what my mind instantly goes to
I
when
know,
I
I
think of a
know
bad
that's the
John
instant
Goodman movie.
go-to, but that's not his fault though.
All right.
It's, again, there's bad performance, and there's like again good performance in a bad movie.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway, the point being though, it's like in that movie, it's like he's filling the biggest shoes ever, so he didn't have a chance. And this the fact the whole movie's like we're basically going to do a very similar plot to the original film, only without the teeth.
Uh,
So it's not helpful. Anywho, let's see. Okay, so we have the musical number. Then they're going to meet at the park. Problem: they realize the circus is, and this is actually a thing I forgot that they addressed. And I was kind of glad about this. I'm glad the dinosaurs kind of put two and two together. Oh no, Professor Screw Eyes is at that circus. We got to save the kids. To do that, they got to flee the cops. They got to flee the popo. All right. So the police chase, fun, crazy set piece. Love the animation here. Rex using the truck as like a skateboard, pre-Giant Man, by the way, from
right.
Ant-Man 2. Let's see, Woog foils an armed robbery and pays a hot dog vendor and hot dogs. We have like the motorcycle in the sidecar. We have some helicopter chase. Some good animation.
Yeah. Honestly, this scene and the Thanksgiving parade kind of blend together for me a little bit because they happen like one after the other, and
they're linked together, so it's essentially like a big sequence. So.
All right. Yeah, Z and K, or I'm sorry, Kogias. I did not enjoy Evan Almighty the one time I saw it. I'm sorry.
I gave it a fair shot. I did not enjoy it either. Plus, I mean, it doesn't help that I love Bruce Almighty, so that didn't help either.
I also remember being dragged to Evan Almighty by a friend, so that didn't help the situation. Like I was literally like, "Oh, you son of a bitch! You're really gonna make me watch Evan Almighty, aren't you?"
Oh God.
Anyways, maybe you need to rewatch it.
No, you're not missing much, Tiki.
All right.
Okay, so here's the one thing I do want to mention with the chase, and this is where we get to the tonal shift. So we end up in Central Park in using cartoony physics. Like we get there real easily. Just like they go into a building slave for demolition, explodes, and they end up in Central Park exactly like we did there.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That feels like, okay, guys, we do not have the time or the budget. We already had like $1 million to do this parade thing. We gotta cut costs, man. We just gotta get them there. What's the fastest way we can get there? Well, I mean, we could do this, but it's a little cartoony. It's a cartoon. Let's do it.
Oh my god.
You say that again, I'm gonna throw something at you. Do it.
All right, and that leads to, yes, I agree. The tonal shift when we get to the circus is just, I would say it's one of the most like abrupt and out of nowhere tonal shifts I have ever seen in an animated movie. Is that fair to say?
I mean, we set up this guy as a danger, so he had to show up. You're right, going from.
Well, yeah, but we set up that all the Disney villains are dangerous. That doesn't mean that the whole movie suddenly becomes like straight up oppressive.
No. They're setting up the Tiki. They're setting up the Disney movies. Disney villains are dangerous in those movies, but this is a case of like we very directly spelled out that this guy is someone to look out for. He is coming. He will be here shortly. Be aware of him.
Sure.
That is the difference. But to be fair, you are right. That again, just as I said, it's the tonal shift just in terms of how we get there so fast from the happy-go-lucky, wacky chase.
Oh yeah, it's literally right after like the centerpiece, like happy-go-lucky shit. Yeah.
Do you want to hear a crazy story about Screw Eyes?
I would love to.
Okay, you're gonna love this.
All right.
Okay, so originally, Screw Eyes in the movie is voiced by the wonderful Kenny Mars, Kemp from Young Frankenstein, of course, amongst many other roles. Also in Freaky.
I know him mostly as King Triton, honestly.
Well, there you go. That's obvious. Sorry, that is the big role. King Triton obviously has to go to. However, he originally was not the voice.
Okay.
Do you know who was?
No.
John Malkovich.
Oh my god, dude!
And Tiki, I don't just
that
mean
they were fucking wild.
Are you okay? You ready for me to blow your mind?
Sure.
Okay, buckle up, buddy. So Malkovich not only was like, it's not one of the things. Oh, he was considered for the voice. No, it was like the whole William H Macy Finding Nemo thing. They recorded with Malkovich. Seemingly to the end. Seemingly, I assume they didn't do it all, but the movie was short, so who knows?
And he only shows up about halfway through.
That's what I mean. So it sounds like they might have gotten all the Screw Eyes stuff with him. So Malkovich recorded, but here's the thing. It is debated because there's two conflicting stories. One from Malkovich, and I don't think it's directly from Spielberg, some from the production. That Malkovich had story gripes with the direction of Screw Eyes. And the thing is, Screw Eyes, we explained how he lost his eye. There was a really creepy monologue that he had that you can find on YouTube. That you can hear Malkovich.
Oh, I need to look this shit up.
And you can hear Malkovich as Screw Eyes going through the backstory of how he lost his eyes. It was a scene that was deemed too scary for the movie, and they cut it out. And I guess he got wind of this.
Did the way that he lost his eye involve the crows?
Yes.
I had a feeling. All right.
Well, yes, but it's like very descriptive and creepy.
Like
that thing. So it was a scary scene, but it's like it feels like, guys, if we're going this far down the rabbit hole, I don't think we really have anything to fear. But that's the thing. So Malkovich, for some reason, he just thought he didn't like the direction he would disagree with the direction they're taking with the character, and it essentially sounds like he quits. And here's the thing: it's not just that he quit. He apparently ranted and insulted the movie based on that. It's like, well, sometimes we're back a dinosaur story, so that's going to happen. You need integrity on animated projects.
I love it.
Is essentially what he said. Now the conflicting reports are that Malkovich. Basically, that Malkovich was too scary. It was it was the Tim Curry Joker thing that that essentially Malkovich was too scary for the direction. We couldn't use his audio. So then they went to Christopher Lloyd, and Christopher Lloyd, he was busy. However, it sounded like
Christopher Lloyd. It's like if you just look at the poster of the character, he would be probably your go-to. You would assume that someone like a Christopher Lloyd or a Tim Curry would do it.
But that's the thing. So it sounds like they went to Lloyd, but Lloyd was very busy, and then they did a record with him. I believe was not the full audio, because again, he was busy. I imagine it was like they heard him, and then Spielberg made the call nah, still too scary. And then they went to Kenny Mars.
Yeah, which, I mean, Kenneth Mars, it's really interesting because, obviously, King Triton is a very regal authoritarian character, and this is almost kind of like the exact opposite. ZK says he's going full Ursula in his performance, ironically enough, which I agree with. I mean, he's really like hamming it up big time.
Has the kid signed a contract and everything?
Oh, okay. Let's talk about that fucking contract, okay? Because I feel like the contract is twofold. Like, it is just like it is messed up. Like, as far as like him, just presenting the contract and then like not presenting any of the fine print until it's actually signed and signing it with the blood and everything. But it also leads to one of the stupidest moments in the movie. And I'm sorry, Drake, I know the Nostalgia Critic pointed this out, but I even thought about it as a kid. The moment where the dinosaurs come in and the whole to-do with the contract and the whole, like, if you take the brain drain, then the kids can go free. It's like, yeah, but you have fucking teeth. You're dinosaurs. What the fuck? Why is this an issue?
Okay, well, come on. One, they don't want to kill anyone. That's why.
You don't even have to kill the guy, Dragon. Just intimidate him.
How are you going to the man has a screw for it. How do you intimidate that man?
He's a fucking T-Rex. I don't know.
Anyway, okay, my point.
He's the king of the dinosaurs, Dragon.
Yes, but he's John Goodman, though.
Oh, God. Anyways.
Okay. Anyway, okay, we're
have you seen 10 Cloverfield Lane? John Goodman can be scary. All right.
But not after he's had a whole musical number in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade.
Can you imagine if John Goodman had a musical number in 10 Cloverfield Lane?
Oh, I can imagine. What if it was like a creepy thing? Come on, sing along with me. It'll be.
That's the thing. In that movie, I could actually picture that kind of shit going down. Oh my God.
Sing Freebird with me. Let's do it.
Oh my God, yes. Yes. Just John Goodman, like, painfully awkward rendition of Freebird. Oh, I want that scene now. Yeah, okay, Mary Elizabeth Winstead just timidly going along with it.
Yeah, okay.
You know what else is great about it is that the lyrics of Freebird actually kind of reflect her situation too.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Okay, brief tangent, just because the opportunity rarely presents itself. So Code Geass anime fans says Christopher Lloyd makes every film that he's in better. He's even great in Food Fight.
Oh man.
So I just want to highlight, to me, I think the underrated Christopher Lloyd performance.
Okay.
At least for me, his performance in The Page Master is wonderful.
Yeah, we need to talk about the Page Master.
I've been wanting to do it, but the anniversary never aligns with us, and I always want to talk about it.
Well, when is the anniversary?
I forget the movie came out in 96 or not. I don't know.
I mean, honestly, you might just have to make I even have nostalgia for the fucking Super Nintendo game of the Page Master.
Yeah,
like I was all in on the Page Master.
Christopher Lloyd has such the end of that movie. The last.
Well, it's a '94 Dragon. It's a '94 movie, Dragon. We can do it next
really?
Year. Yeah.
Hooray!
Yeah.
All right, I know what we're doing next year. We're doing Page Master. Yeah. Oh, that's like
that's going to be a fun one, man. Oh my God, that's going to be a trip to revisit.
Just to tee it up a bit, without getting into the specifics. Again, the last scene he has in that movie, I think, is just one of the most wonderful moments of acting he's got. It's phenomenal.
I hear you.
Okay. He barely even says anything, too.
I know.
Better. Okay. Anyway. So, getting back on point here. So, again, Screw Eyes has got a great design. There's
everything about Screw Eyes is just like objectively the best thing in the movie. Just every single element about him. He is great all the way through.
While it is a janky turn, you do have to give points, though. The shift in atmosphere and lighting and everything, just being what it is in the animation, like what we're doing with darkness and everything, and just like this, the way like you're feeling unease around this character. We're hitting it at all fronts there. However, it does strike me a bit odd. This guy's got like a demonic circus, and yet his sidekick is Stubbs the Clown.
Yeah, Stubbs the Clown is a very plot-convenient character to exist in this movie because the kids need someone to bounce off of while they're in the circus. And also, it's a little bit convenient that the dinosaurs are being brain drained and Stubbs the Clown is basically babysitting them while that's happening.
I mean, a lot of it feels like if you look at just the Stubbs the Clown's design and just the big awesome rant that he has when he quits, which is really funny.
Oh, that's great. That's fucking awesome, man. That I love that rant. I love the end of that rant.
That's comedy.
No, but like specifically like the very last thing that he mentions, I forget the exact wording of it.
The clam.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a clam with on the mermaid on the American flag, and my brother Richard.
I got to imagine that's improv on Martin Short's part. I got to imagine.
Has to be. It's gotta be. But yeah, so that's great.
That was like some pre-Aladdin improv.
I mean, more. It would have been like at the same time.
Oh yeah, Aladdin was 93. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. So okay, so here's the thing. It feels like, just looking at the design of that character and that rant, it feels very much like one of the animators from Roger Rabbit's feeling his oats. Like, I'm looking at
it's very much a Roger Rabbit character. That's a good pull. That's a good pull.
I don't know which character he animated on Roger Rabbit, but I'm just saying it does feel a little like, it feels like maybe a guy feeling his oats there.
Feels a little Baby Herman-esque, just in the way that he moves, I think.
It's possible, yeah. I'm just saying the baggy pants makes me think of Roger Rabbit, but yeah.
Oh, that was last year. Sorry about that.
Oops. Sorry. Anywho. Right. Okay, where was I? Oh yeah. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. So we have there's a contrast in those two. Basically, here's the best way I can describe Professor Screw Eyes. By the way, I think you'll like this. It's like if Stranger Danger were a person.
Yeah, essentially. I mean, just the whole thing of he meets them and immediately he's having them sign his contracts and the peril of signing a contract, Dragon. The thing about that I think still gets under your skin, and why it holds up as a good villain, is that as an adult, the contract thing is a very real world scary thing that you deal with. You know what I mean?
I mean, this detail has always haunted me as a kid. Just the idea that, because it's even though, again, not the most well-developed children characters, I mean, still though, in the context when you're supposed to at least care about these characters, or if you're the kid in the audience, you're supposed to see yourself in the kid role. So the idea that you have to sign this thing in blood, so the pain on these kids from the finger prick. It's a very mundane thing, but it does feel like it feels like we're pushing. It's a very small boundary, but we're pushing the boundary of one, blood in the kids film, making the child it's the whole child endangerment thing. We're making the kid bleed, and I don't know. It's the fact we're signing the contract in blood, and honestly, seeing Cecilia prick her finger like a little pin there, just because Louie's doing it, it's like, no, don't do that. No, it's like, oh, she's signing her soul away.
Okay, that's the thing, man. It's she just does not even think about it. She doesn't even think twice. She just does it.
She's got nothing, man. All she's got is this New York kid. That's all.
Okay, that's fucking depressing. I agree. Yeah. That's a very depressing thought.
That's what I'm saying. What's she going home
to? This New York rapscallion that she literally just met an hour ago.
That's all she's got. I mean, her parents have abandoned her literally at family night.
Literally on Thanksgiving.
On Thanksgiving and
family night. Can we talk about the fact that this movie is technically a Thanksgiving movie?
Well, it's appropriate we're talking about it.
I know.
But also the fact that her parents, not only did they leave, they left her to go on a vacation together. Yep. And that's not a divorce thing. It's literally they're both there on vacation.
Let's talk about that, by the way. Does this movie have any Spielberg daddy issues?
No, get out of here. Oh, you're genuinely asking me. Yeah.
I'm asking you because I feel like it's mostly it's more so just vague parent issues and not specifically the daddy issues that we're more familiar with Spielberg.
I think you're right, but by the same token, though, I mean, father did leave as well with mother, so Also, I'm just saying, with the fact that there's a lot of focus on the mother-son relationship, notice father is not really there, and we do have father briefly in the bird thing at the opening, where father's like, "Here's the food," and he's just really fight amongst yourselves. It's not a really glowing portrayal of father. I don't know, maybe, but again, it's not really Spielberg, true blue Spielberg movie.
It's like the father bird was initially a very like well-intentioned character, and Spielberg just like, you go back and change that shit right now.
Now you know in the remake, in the remake they gotta have Paul Dano voice the CG bird.
Oh my god, Jesus! Yes, the hyper-realistic CG bird.
Seriously, wouldn't it be great if Spielberg's movies going forward now would just be like, okay, I gotta fill the data issues mandates. I'm gonna call Paul Dano and give him a cameo.
Oh no!
And he'll just be in the background as a troubled father character.
Oh yes, Steven, sure, I'd be happy to do another movie that I will not get an Academy Award nomination for.
Well, sadly, it's not like he's doing anything else. It's just gonna be. It'll just be like, okay, so you want me to just go in there and say this isn't a hobby, just in the background randomly?
Oh my god!
It's just a little hobby. That's all he wants. Every time Paul Dano shows up, he's gonna put on a pair of glasses and he's gonna say to someone in the background, "It's just a hobby," and then we're just gonna move on.
All right. Is this one of Spielberg's best or worst films? It's not technically a Spielberg film, but like, I would say it's better than his worst movies. Where do you land on that?
I don't know. If
it's definitely not one of Spielberg's best films. Absolutely not. But like, I don't know. Like, it's a hell of a lot better than something like 1942 or something.
I will say it's better than 1942 and probably The Post.
Oh, way better than The Post. Come on now.
Yeah, so there you go. I mean, those are the low points of Spielberg's career. Those two.
I still can't get over how just The Post is just like a non-movie, man.
I gotta be honest. Of all Spielberg, the most miserable I've been was The Post.
I know. I hear you.
At least
technically, the most miserable I've been is Schindler's List, but that's only because I had to watch it twice to be miserable. One day.
You're supposed to be miserable.
I know, but that was legitimately one of the hardest days of my podcasting career, man. However, that was a fucking rough day.
We did get one uplifting moment in Schindler's List, though.
We did. Ironically,
one singular happy moment
is still going strong as a running joke. So
say what you will, in Schindler's List, sad and impressive a movie as it is, there is one uplifting moment towards the top of that movie.
Yes.
That's Oscar. That's Oscar Schindler.
Oh my god. Yeah, Little Blue. I did mean 1941. I get that confused all the time. I'm sorry. Anyways, the only Spielberg films that I like are the Jurassic. What? Code Geass. Oh my god. Okay, Code Geass. You have a very I'm not even calling you out because I think your taste in movies is honestly kind of fascinating. Like, you're defending Evan Almighty, and yet you're saying that the only good Spielberg movies are the Jurassic Park movies. I'm not even calling you out. That's just that I'm genuinely impressed.
Code Geass says E.T.'s a turd.
Don't you dare talk bad about E.T.
Well, hey, Code Geass said, not me. That's what he's saying with that implication. There's no other good Spielberg movies.
Okay, as far as Spielberg produced, Little Blue, I don't know. It's probably among the weaker Spielberg produced ones off the top of my head, but I kind of have to look at a list. So, but probably among the weaker ones.
Well, I mean, look, I think the best Spielberg produced movie is Back to the Future. I mean, come on.
I mean, yeah, there's a lot of heavy hitters there. You got Back to the Future, you got Roger Rabbit, you got Poltergeist.
Honestly, top three off the top of my head. I mean, again, it's Back to the Future, Men in Black, and Roger Rabbit. Those are the three. Not in particular order. I'm just saying those. I mean, probably Back to the Future is number one for me deep down, but those are the three. Anyway, so let's see. We're just to refocus a bit here. Okay, so we have the dinosaurs arrive. They're too late. They've signed the contracts. They belong to this very strange screw-eyed man now.
So the way that he's talking about it in a very intimidatingly realistic terms, these children won't be able to go anywhere with you for a long time.
I love Kenny Mars' hilarious delivery of. Basically, if you take the brain drain, enjoy.
If you take the brain drain,
Take the brain drain, take the kid's place. I'll rip up the contract and set the kids free.
Oh my god, I love it. That is probably the most memorable Screw Eyes line. Is that right
It's
there?
so delightful how he's put that. And I'll say he's just making fun of the sing song. You're like, I'll set the kids free. So here's the question I have for you, though. Serious question: the kids turning back from the monkeys to being human again. Is that purely because
every time I watch this
that,
movie, I always forget that they were briefly turned into monkeys.
So is that just Rex being nice to him, or because we've seen the power of hugs in this movie, so that's why I have to ask.
It's very like proto Pokemon, the first movie,
right?
Isn't it?
Yes. That's the thing. Do you think that is that Rex is doing, or is that like the deal just being like undone, like per the arrangement with the dinosaur?
Dragon, you're asking me about the rules of the magic in this movie, and I just do not have a straight answer for you. I'm sorry.
Oh, Tiki.
I'm sorry.
I said one thing to ask you this whole podcast, and you just.
All right. Well, if I were to break it down,
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I would probably say that it's like a mechanic of the magic. Like I don't know. Like I said, I always forget that they even turn into monkeys to begin with. It's such a non-plot point.
All right. So the climax, very manufactured, just to triumph.
Hold on. Before we get to the climax, we need to talk about the scene that happens right before the climax, where they first see the dinosaurs in their like more primeval form. Because Dragon, that moment right there, that's all my childhood trauma. All my childhood trauma in that one moment where Louis sees Rex and Rex is like a killing machine. I mean, it's like you said, the lighting really goes out of its way there.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so if the dinosaurs, this is actually a really good question, C&K. If the dinosaurs sacrifice themselves for the kitties to be set free, why do they still stick around? I kind of assume it's like they stick around because they want to save their friends, but then at the same time, it's like they're just like being totally distracted by Martin Short shenanigans while the dinosaurs are actually being lobotomized. So I don't know. I legitimately don't know.
Well, here's the thing. This is what I'm blanking on. If memory serves, what happens is the kids fell asleep after they were turned back from monkeys to humans.
No, you're right. They do fall asleep.
So they fell asleep. The clown took him in and hid him away, so nothing bad happens to him. And then when they woke up, they saw what the situation is. We'll get there. They saw. They saw how dire the situation was, and so then they said, "Okay, now we gotta save our friends here."
Yeah, no, the occasion they do legitimately fall asleep. So yeah.
Now,
it's not a great explanation, but it's
the better question is why do they fall asleep? Because they're monkeys, and then apparently they fall asleep randomly, and Rex like pats their heads, and they're all good now.
I mean, have you ever been to a zoo? Half the animals at a zoo are always asleep.
Okay.
All right.
So, anywho, yeah, ZNK says, well, it's almost like Screw Eyes was bluffing the whole time and they're still in a contract. I don't know about that because I think they would. It's almost like that.
There's a contract. Wouldn't they be like forced to actually perform?
Well, that's the thing. They'd still be monkeys if they're under contract. He'd
exactly
have to control over their free will. Apparently, now here's the real question: like, how can he turn people into monkeys though? Like that's the thing. If he how the magic works with Screw Eyes.
Please don't ask me the logistics of that because I really don't have any solid answer for that.
Okay, no, to address the logistics, we got to go way back and we got to talk about the family life of Screw Eyes and New Eyes and how that all works and how.
Okay, seriously though, the family life of Screw Eyes and New Eyes would be legitimately really interesting. Like.
Essentially, it's like Reed Richards and Dr. Doom, where you have the one man is steeped in science, and Dr. Doom is steeped in a little bit of magic, and that's where the screw eye comes in. And essentially, he found a magic screw, and he just drove it in there, and then, anyways.
Well, that's the thing, though. The screw really is like kind of the source of the magic. Like,
yeah.
In that one deleted scene, do they go into it at all? Like the magic of the screw?
The deleted scene, all they really get into is that you want me to tell you what it is?
Sure.
Okay, so essentially, and I'm not going to do this as good as Malkovich, but essentially, he was eating berries, and a berry was on his eye, and the crow just attacked him,
Oh
and he was,
no, fuck.
and he was terrified, and he wanted that. It basically became the scarecrow. He had a fascination with fears and everything, conquering his fears, and that's why he has like that respectful distance with the crows and everything. So they go into like why the crows are around. They don't really get into the whole why the screw he has a mastery over fear, so somehow it's connected to the screw and his trauma. So that's as much of an explanation as we get. So it's more of a symbolic kind of like thing.
Speaking of which, can
How
we
that
talk
turns
about the
people into
fact that
monkeys, I have no idea.
uh-huh. Can we talk about the fact that the circus is essentially a modern day haunt attraction?
I mean, yeah, essentially, it's like
Like it's very much something that like Halloween Horror Nights would do nowadays. Like come to the circus where your biggest fears are brought to life. I don't know. It and in the comments, is anyone familiar with McCamey Mansion and or McCamey Manor in the comments? Because I'm just picturing Screw Eyes as Russ McCamey. Your kids came to my mansion thinking that you would get a grand tour, but instead we're just going to waterboard you. That's actually what happens in McCamey Manor, Dragon. It's fucking crazy. There's this guy who like calls it an extreme haunted house, but he's really just actually torturing people. Look it up. Anyways.
Anywho, so yeah, so we have the we have kind of like the essentially the freak show circus going on here. We're scaring people again. Basically, very scarecrow like Professor Screw Eyes is here, where he's really getting off on everyone being afraid. Now here's the this guy feels like a terrible ringmaster of a circus when you think about it. This guy in terms of his business model here, because like I'm going to terrify all my audience members, so they're never going to come back again.
Uh-huh.
I mean, that's the thing. They're running for their lives. He's got giant dinosaurs, and they're very vicious. And I'm going to unchain them. Like we all saw Jurassic Park 2. We don't want any part of this. Well, I guess technically they didn't yet, but you know what I mean. Yeah, so they're freaking out, and then we have the big thing where Louis talks Rex down, and basically we hug dinosaurs back from savagery.
Yeah, yeah.
It's Pokemon the movie big time. It's we
I
like
do
well
like I
forget
do like Louis' monologue more than
yeah.
most people do. I do think it's kind of sweet, you
No,
know.
no. It's nice him like reaching Rex and everything, like letting down the emotional walls, and bringing him in, but it feels a little easy. Just
Oh,
like
it's way too easy. Yeah. I
yeah,
mean,
that kid didn't
especially
have any.
like the thing is like I can kind of buy it with Rex with the emotional speech and everything. The thing that really fucking undercuts it is the fact that they're able to literally just like hug the other ones away. You know what I mean?
Like, don't
The
you think
other
it would have
ones
been?
being instantly cured is what really bothers me.
Do you think it would have played better if it was a thing where those dinosaurs saw what happened and then they had like a moment of contemplation
I
and
feel
then
like
kind
they
of
should have at least like had a couple like shots of them like like kind of like coming like slowly progressing to that point.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. So we seemingly saved the day, but then we have Screw Eyes needs to be taken down a peg here, or several. Captain New Eyes shows up, and I love him like New Eyes showing up here and his offer to redeem his brother. That was a really nice moment. I love the fate of Screw Eyes. I always thought this is a big traumatizing thing for a lot of the kids out there, I'm sure. Um, so he offers to redeem his brother. He says no, and he instantly regrets it. And the way the timing on this works and the way it visually is done, everything is just flawless. Like, when I have no one to scare, I get scared myself, and he's eaten by the crows.
I mean, just not just Eden Dragon. He gets surrounded by the crows, and then nothing is left of him
It's
except for the screw.
it's the slasher version of Pigeon Man.
It's so great. It's such a great image. I mean, like nowadays, I think it's just cool as hell. But like, yeah,
Yeah,
as a kid, it's
all
it's
that's left is the
definitely
screw.
dramatic.
It's flawless, it's perfectly done. I just love the haunting moment of like the realization before
Totally,
he's eaten
totally.
by the
Yeah.
that's what does it for me. And him like calling out to his brother so so desperately. Like that's that thing. It's the deconstruction of fear right there. What his whole thing's about. He's a bully. He's just making other people afraid so he feels good about himself. So without that, he's afraid of what that says about him.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's beautifully done. Also, again, the contrast of like the light and security of his brother to the darkness and fear that he's got. Like the one sliver of hope is now gone as he's like he is gone.
Oh yeah.
So we finally take him to the museum. Thanks, New Eyes. You could have done that
Okay,
from the
by
start
the
of the
way,
movie.
can we just mention that I love how there's like an American Tail side
Yeah.
plot going on here?
Yes, we so Dr. Bleep here.
Yeah.
She's Julia Childs. She's looking around.
Hello!
She's looking around, and she's got these big old glasses, and she can't see diddly
I
squat.
love
She
the
just keeps,
character. It might be my favorite character design in the whole movie, honestly.
yeah, and she just keeps missing him, like Fievel's father.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's crazy.
Z and K says he loves the silence of the entire death scene. Nothing but echoes. The haunting, that haunting long gasp as they descend onto him. Ooh, such. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, but so I love she literally
I honestly
paced.
think now that I think about it, this movie probably is what gave me kind of a little bit of a phobia of birds.
I can buy it. Well,
I,
honestly,
I
look,
really don't like birds. I'm really
on
not a big bird fan.
it's gonna make me sound like Lex Luthor, but I really, like, on principle, I don't trust things that fly.
Right.
Never any insects that fly. I guess birds and yeah, I don't know. It's like birds honestly would probably fall into the next tier. There's I don't know. I don't know if I trust that. There's
Like,
nothing
I don't
against
like going into aviaries. You know what I mean?
oh
Aviaries.
that's the thing. I just have a thing against. It's not against like flying like on a plane or anything. I don't like any natural living thing that can fly.
Right.
Unless it's Superman and planes are fine. Anything else though?
Just Superman, no other superhero with the power of flight.
Okay, don't come on, man. We're gonna be here forever. Like, list
I'm
every
sorry.
flying superhero. I mean, come on. Anyway, so so the fact
I
that she
just
like
do
literally
not fucking trust Mighty Mouse.
he's got a very severe drug problem too. We shouldn't trust anything else. Anyway, yeah. So but yeah. So in fact, like Julia Child's here, she keeps like slapping on these posters everywhere, including literally on Woog's
On
leg
the
during
dinosaur, yeah.
yeah. Like literally right on Dinosaur has no idea. All right, so they luck out. They finally end up at the museum, and the kids love them. The parents are none the wiser, and we have a really classy kind of essentially end point here. You have Walter Cronkite ending as he always ends, and that's the way it is.
Yeah, totally. That
Like
is
that's
very
classy, man. Does it make a whole lot of sense context wise? No, but does it make you feel all good inside? Yes.
You know what would make this ending even better?
What?
Is if at the very last minute they worked in a Night at the Museum crossover.
Oh, you know what it is?
What?
The T Rex is Rex's dead body.
There we go. Oh god, that's fucking morbid. Jesus
Well, you brought it up.
Christ.
Well, how else do we put him in there?
I'm just saying, have Ben Stiller's character's name is Larry, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, have Larry
Daly
there.
is.
I don't know.
Oh, I thought you meant like putting Rex at night at the museum. Because if you're going to put
No, I'm
Rex at
just
night,
saying, like somehow acknowledge that this movie and Night at the Museum take place in the same universe. Is all I'm saying. Some
sure,
little nod to like somewhere in this universe, Night at the Museum is also happening.
sure, because that's practical. Okay,
Oh, I
so
know. I'm not even sure if the Night at the Museum book was out at this time.
I don't think so.
All right, fair enough.
Anyway, so then we have we go back to the framing device. We slap a ridiculously happy ending on the kids, on like Louis and Cecilia. They became a couple and they made up with their
It's
parents,
so
and we have
fucking
like
stupid. It's so fucking stupid.
Cecilia's like again, like we undid all those unhappy photos from the top so the kids aren't traumatized.
Uh-huh.
And then we pay off a framing device where Buster has learned from Louis, and our dinosaur continues to play golf.
Okay, Z and K is asking what historical figure John Goodman could have played in Night at the Museum.
Instantly, I would say Babe Ruth.
Babe Ruth. Yeah, I could see that. I could see
I'm saying he
that.
literally played Babe Ruth in the movie, Tiki. That's why I'm saying Babe Ruth.
Wait, in Night at the Museum?
Well, no, not in Night at the in the movie, The
Oh.
Babe.
Oh, right. Sorry.
Which is great. Not the one with the pig, the other one.
What about, like, I don't know, like Beethoven or something?
Was Beethoven a big guy?
I don't know.
I guess nowadays, John has slimmed down tremendously, so he could have more range. But it's oh God, man, John is so versatile. He can play a lot of really good roles there.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
God, there's a lot of
like, even if Beethoven historically wasn't a big guy, I just think he's got the bravado for a role like that. That's what I'm saying.
True. I don't know. And again, Babe Ruth for nostalgia's sake, but I'm trying. There's probably someone better.
All right.
Oh well.
Fred fucking Flintstone.
Well, yeah, duh.
Everyone's favorite historical figure. All right. Anyways, is that about it?
Fred Flintstone's an American hero.
Fred Flintstone died for your sins, Dragon.
Why are you killing him off? Seriously, I every time I think also glowingly about Fred Flintstone, I keep thinking to the man called Flintstone. But still, in that moment, just like is him, like just thinking about, I'm gonna go off and I'm gonna make this world safer for my daughter. It's like, man, that Fred Flintstone, that's like that's the finest moment Fred Flintstone's ever had. The American hero, Fred Flintstone. Like that's yes. Like, oh my god, I can't get over how great that moment is.
Oh my god.
Anyway,
all right. So I'm actually kind of impressed that we got through this in an hour and a half, because I would have bet fucking good money that this would have been a 2-hour podcast.
Oh, we're gonna be here for another hour answering the comments, Tiki. So might as well get comfy.
What comment specifically do you want to answer?
No, I just imagine they're gonna roll in. That's the thing.
I mean, I think I pretty much addressed. If you can see anything, like I think I addressed all the major comments.
I think so too.
If you want to do a quick scroll.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to see if there's anything particularly scintillating we have not gotten to yet. I think we got it. I think we well, folks who are missing anything, I mean, tell us now. Otherwise, we're
right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I would like to thank Little Blue, Z and K channel, and Go Gios, of course. Go Gios for joining us in the comments. Yeah, this was certainly a fun one. So, all right. Have a good night, everyone.
Roll back the rock, kids.
Let no bad happen.